Take a bill out of your wallet and look at it. There's a face on it, a human face looking back at you. In America, it's Washington, Lincoln, Hamilton, Jackson. In Britain, it's the monarch. Every major currency on earth puts a face on its money. It's so ordinary that nobody asks about it. So ask about it. Why a face? Why not a number? Why not a shape, a symbol, a pattern? Money is supposed to be the most boring object in your life. A unit, a measure. Why does it carry a portrait of a person? There is an answer, and it's older than every face currently printed on every currency in the world. It goes back past paper, past coins, past money itself, to a practice the Hebrew prophets tried to outlaw in 620 BC. In the last film, we followed a preserved head through the ruin of the Knights Templar, a numbered relic they believed made them rich. This one is about what happened to it. Not where the head went, what it turned into. 3 things carry over. First, a tariff, a head taken from a man, preserved, mounted on a plate of gold, and consulted. Its owners believed it spoke, gave them wisdom, made them rich, and made the land grow. Banned in 620 BC, which tells you it was common. Second, the Knights Templar were arrested in 1307, holding a set of these. The one the police found was labeled Head 58, meaning at least 57 others were never recovered. The Templars were not really a military order. They were the first bank that operated across all of Europe. They invented the letter of credit. They lent to kings. And in their most sacred room, they kept a head they credited with their fortune. Third, when the order was destroyed, the banking did not stop. It moved to the Italian houses above all the Medici, who were still keeping speaking heads of their own. Letters of credit became bills of exchange. Bills became notes. Notes became paper money. So here is the problem the survivors had. A tariff is one object. It sits in one locked room. Only initiates ever see it. The system they were building covered a continent. For it to work at that size, the thing the head did had to be taken out of the room. It had to be made small, made portable, made into something that could move through every hand in the economy. We assume money was invented for trade. Merchants needed a way to settle accounts, so somebody made coins. That's not what happened. The first coins came from temples. In Mesopotamia, they were minted in the temples of Ishtar, not by a government, not by a market, by priests as tokens handed to worshippers in exchange for offerings to the goddess. The coin was a record of a debt in both directions. The worshipper had given something to the divine. The divine owed a blessing back. The word shekel means a bushel of wheat. That was the offering you gave the goddess in exchange for fertility. The first money was a receipt for a prayer. Greek coins from around 1000 BC were issued in the temples of Dionysus in exchange for a bull given up for sacrifice. Your coin was proof you had fed the god and were owed your share of the feast. The Roman denarius was struck inside the temple of Juno Moneta. That is where the word comes from. Moneta gives us money, monetary and mint. Roman currency was not secular. It was the goddess's coinage, made in the goddess's house. For most of its history, money was not a neutral tool. It was a record of a transaction with something divine. Now look at what has been stamped on it the entire time. Afate, a god king, an emperor, a monarch, a president. In every case, a human being raised to something above human, whose likeness gets pressed into metal and passed from hand to hand. That's the tariff. Not one preserved head on a plate in a locked chamber. Millions of small, portable, identical tokens, each carrying the face of the figure credited with the wealth, each moving through every transaction in the economy, and each making the same quiet claim the Templars made about theirs. This makes you rich. This makes the land grow. Hold it, use it, believe in it, and you will prosper. The job hasn't changed, only the packaging. Here is where a skeptic should push back. Fine old money had gods on it. Ours doesn't. We got over it. So take the description of modern money from someone with no interest in any of this. William Grider wrote the standard popular history of the Federal Reserve. He was an economics journalist, not a mystic. This is his description of what money is. Above all, money is a function of faith. It requires an implicit and universal social consent that is indeed mysterious. To create money and use it, each one must believe, and everyone must believe. Only then do the worthless pieces of paper take on value. Read that again, and notice he had to reach for religious words to describe a currency, faith, consent, mystery, believe twice. He is not being poetic. He is describing the mechanism accurately, and the mechanism he is describing is a talisman. A talisman is an object that works because everybody agrees it works. It has almost no value of its own. The metal in a coin is worth less than the coin. The paper in a note is worth nothing at all. All of its value comes from every party to the deal believing it stands for something real. Stop believing and it's a piece of cotton with ink on it. Keep believing universally, without exception, without thinking about it, and it can rearrange the entire material life of anyone holding it. That is exactly what the Templars were running, not superstition. A working technology for taking the belief of a whole community and concentrating it into a single object until the object starts producing the thing everyone is pointing at it. And it worked. For 200 years, they were the most successful financial operation on earth. No modern accounting, no corporations, no central bank, no stock market, none of the machinery we assume finance requires. Whether the head really spoke matters less than what it did. It was the fixed point that the entire order's belief was aimed at. It was what they all agreed was the source of their wealth. And by treating it that way completely, institutionally, without doubt, they made it behave exactly as they expected. That is the structure of every currency ever issued, which brings us to the American dollar. The shekel was a receipt for faith given to a fertility goddess. The denarius was minted in the house of the goddess of money. And the coin that circulated through the American colonies, the Spanish pillar dollar, carried the pillars of Hercules, and the motto plus ultra, more beyond, the threshold between the known world and what lies past it. Look at the dollar sign itself, two pillars with a serpent wound through them. That is a simplified caduceus, the alchemical sign of transformation. The symbol is printed on every unit of exchange in the largest economy in human history, and essentially nobody who uses it daily can say where it came from. Then turn the bill over. An unfinished pyramid, an eye above it, detached, watching. Novus Ordo Seclorum, a new order of the ages. Annuit Coeptus, he has favored our undertakings. Somebody is being thanked on your money. None of that is decoration. Every element is drawn from the same symbolic vocabulary as the Masonic tracing board and the Johannite Church, the same tradition that produced the Templars and the head they kept. So follow the whole chain in one line. A head that makes you rich, a token that stands in for the head, a talisman that pushes the head's function out through the entire economy, a currency that carries a face and only works while everyone agrees to believe in it. The same object the whole way down, distributed, shrunk, mass-produced, put into the pocket of every person alive and made compulsory for every transaction they will ever make. And at the start of that chain, in a locked room in a Templar house somewhere in France, there was a head wrapped in white and red cloth, labeled with the number kept by men who believed it, told them the future and made them rich. Whose head it was is still argued over. The Gnostic tradition says John the Baptist, the head of prophecy, cut away from the living man and concentrated into the relic. But you don't have to settle that to see the shape of it. Whoever's skull was in that box, the job it did was the job of a tariff. And the job of a tariff, once it's been distributed, miniaturized, and issued by a state, is the job of money. So the next time you take a note out of your wallet, look at the face on it. Ask who it is. Ask why a person is there at all. Ask what it means that this object has value for one reason, only because everybody has agreed it does, and that the agreement is never discussed, never voted on, and never questioned. Then ask the harder one. We carry it everywhere. We organize our entire lives around getting more of it. We give it, in the end, most of the hours we are alive. The Templars knew exactly what they were doing when they built an empire on a head that promised to make them rich. The question is whether we know what we're doing when we do the same thing.